Hello gentle people, and welcome to another Sparrow Art Vibes video tutorial. I love doing charcuterie boards, and so this time we are going to be working with a bamboo charcuterie board that is 16 by 12, and I like this board because it has a juice groove in it, which means that you cut on this side and we're going to decorate the opposite side, which you will use for serving. Again, I try and put my materials out in the order in which I use them. Sometimes I forget or just take for granted that everyone knows what I'm doing. So we do need some tape, painter's tape, to tape the back of the board. If you've watched any of my videos on charcuterie boards, you know that I always prime the surface, and I like using the gesso because it is designed as a primer. So we need a paintbrush to apply the gesso. And then my go-to resin always is Craft Smart. That's because I always get these 40% off coupons. So that's the part A, and that's the part B. And then of course we need, where is it? And of course we need the small measuring cup to mix our resin in. And since I'm using 4 colors, we have 4 small paper cups. We need the stir sticks for the resin. We need the nitrile gloves to protect our hands. And then I'm using a potpourri of mica powders today. The first will be the May Spring Turquoise Blue. I'll also be using the All Starry Okinawa Blue. For some accent, I'm going to be using the Pearl X Antique Silver. And rather than do a pure white, I'm going back to May Spring and I'm using their white Chalcedony. And something that I have not used before that I'm going to use today for the first time is this item called resiBlast. This is what you add to resin to make cells, so we're going to try it and see how it works. And I think that's that. So the first thing we want to do is tape the juice groove side of the board because we are going to resin this side, so we don't want any of the drips over here. So we're going to just take our tape, run a piece of tape right across the top. On the edges. Then you're going to take your fingers and just crease around that corner there. And then using a razor blade or an X-Acto knife, you're just going to trim that excess tape. Turn this forward so I can cut from this side. This particular board is going to have resin at the top where there's color, but at the bottom the customer will have their name, so I need to tape off the bottom of this one as well. Again, we're going to just run our fingers along that edge so we have a place to cut. We're going to trim the excess. And so now we are going to just put gesso on this top edge where we're going to be. So we're going to put gesso on this top edge where we're going to put our colored resin. And here's the gesso. Peel that off. And I kind of already have in my mind a rough idea of how I want. Oh, you know what? I actually excuse me, I need to put another piece of tape on here. I forgot a step. Let me just wipe this off so I don't get it on me. I do apologize for skipping a step. I need to put another piece of tape on here. And the tape I'm putting on here will I'm big on recycling, so I am using a piece of tape from another project, and we're just going to put that on there, and that will be our line. So now I can go back and apply the gesso. And again, this is just if you're using light colors, you do not want the wood to show through. Online, I see lots of people who are selling charcuterie boards that they have put resin on, and when you look at the board, you can see the wood through the board. It's very unattractive. But if you prime your board, and this doesn't have to be heavy, all we're doing is covering up the wood. Make sure that you get the sides, because I always allow my resin to pour over the edge. I think it gives it a really nice professional finished look. So make sure you're putting gesso, excuse me, on those sides. And then we'll give this about an hour to air dry, and then we'll come back in, mix and pour our resin. Okay, so I'm just going to set that there like that. We'll give this an hour to dry, and then we'll come in and mix and color our resin and begin our pour. I am back, and as you can see, the board that we primed is nice and dry. So now it's time to mix our resin, and so we are going to pour 40 milliliters of the Part B hardener and 40 milliliters of the Part A resin. Craftsmart has a 1-to-1 ratio, so you always want to be pouring equal amounts of resin and hardener. And then you mix your resin according to manufacturer instructions. Craftsmart asks you to mix your resin for 5 minutes. So we'll set our timer at 5. We'll hit start. Oops. Pull the stand down. And I'll begin. I am going to fast forward through this so that you don't actually have to sit and watch me stir for 5 minutes. I always say make sure you're scraping around the sides of your container, across the bottom of your container, and do not stir in a circle because resin in the center does not get mixed. So you want to sort of stir in a back and forth and kind of mix it up a little bit. So here we go. Okay, so now I am going to divide this resin into these 4 cups. We're going to do a lot of the turquoise, more of the blue, Okinawa blue. This will be a little bit of gray just as an accent, and then the white. And then I'm saving a little bit of this just to pour on as a base coat. So let me move these out of the way. So I'm going to start with the turquoise blue. And you'll notice that I have a little half a stick. I started cutting my sticks in half because when the sticks are long like this, twice I have hit a stick and knocked a container of resin over. And so to avoid doing that, now I'm just cutting my, oops. Although I have to say it's hard to get to the resin, the little short sticks. That's the turquoise. This is the Okinawa blue. I think this is pretty too. This will be the white Chalcedony. It's a longer stick to be able to get into this bag. This is such a pretty pearlescent color. It looks like the inside of an oyster shell. And then our antique silver. So what I'm trying to replicate now is the way I have done the bloom technique with acrylic paint, but I'm going to do it with resin. So when you do that, you usually pour what's called a pillow layer, and that's white house paint on the bottom. Then you do little puddles. So you put one color, the next color, the next color, and then you add cell activator. So this resiBlast, I'm assuming, will act sort of like silicone does when you put it in acrylic paint and make it separate. So again, I've not done this. This is trial and error. We'll learn together. So instead of pouring white acrylic paint as a base, I'm just going to spread with my fingers a thin layer of the clear just to give this something to slide on. And not to worry, if this does not work the way I think it will, I'll just scrape it off and put it in some coaster molds. Actually, what I'm thinking now is that I should add some drops of the resiBlast to the actual resin. Okay, we'll try it. We'll see. Like I said, if it doesn't work, we can always just scrape this off into a coaster mold and use it as coasters. It would help if I could get the lid off. Okay, so this is resiBlast, and I'm going to add, you can watch, 1, 2, 3 drops. Now again, I have no idea how much you really should add, but I'm adding 3 drops to that. Mix that in. And let's add a couple of drops to the blue. This is pretty expensive. This bottle was like $22, I think. But if you're only adding a single drop, it'll go a long way. So let's mix this in with here. Okay, so let's see what happens here. So I'm going to add actually I want that darker, but we won't worry about it now. And then a drop of the white. So I'm going to now blow this like I would if I were using acrylic paint, and we'll see what happens. I don't think I like that at all. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that. That's not even enough to make a coaster. We're just gonna take that off of there. Okay, yeah, I didn't like that, so we're going to try it differently, and this time I'm just going to do a swipe. Okay, I went and got some wax paper to do a swipe, so let's try it and see what happens this time. I don't know which way I want to pour this. Let's pour. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. Let's pour that. Let's do a little bit of gray. White. And then we'll do the blue. I don't know why I'm doing this in this shape. I don't know. Alright, so have a piece of wax paper. I'm going to drop the wax paper in here. Put over. Okay, do we see cells forming? Not so much. Let's do this side over here. Gray. And then we're going to do this again. Let's go this way. Well, it's not doing what I expected it to do. Wiping this resin along the sides and the edges here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just, this resiBlast is supposed to really break this stuff up, and they keep saying you only need a little dab will do you. So let's see what a dab will do. I guess I need more than that. It's really just making circles. I'm not sure what to make of this. I don't know whether to leave that as circles or to swipe through it again. But it's a really different look. blue lines. This is not doing what I expected it to do. That's really kind of different. I'm going to move the camera so you can see what this is actually doing. You can see the... Wherever I put the resiBlast, it just made a lot of circles. Those don't really look like cells, they just look like maybe drops of water. So we're going to experiment. So I am now going to swipe through that. That really is kind of pretty. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know that I want to swipe. How about if we tilt a little bit? Let's see what happens if we tilt some. Does anything change? Stretch these. And maybe make them run together. And take out the space that's in between. That's a little different. I guess if I had more clear resin underneath, this would slide more. I think I'm going to swipe. There's something about this, it's pretty, but spots here. Okay, let's go back and let's put some drops in this and see what happens. Definitely not what I thought I was going to get. And maybe I'm being impatient. I don't think so, because there's not more movement. Look like octopus tentacles. Actually, you know, I almost like this like it is. Let me see if I can tilt it to the camera more. That's, I mean, I've got these big circles. Okay, you know what I haven't done? I haven't added any heat to it. I've not used my heat gun. Let's see if heat does anything to this. Nope, I don't see anything. The white kind of separated, spread over here. Let's just do a few more of these drops. Okay, this resiBlast has not done what I thought it would do, but that's okay. You can't read the writing on this package, so I'm going to go online and see if I can print that label so you can see that it says this was created to make cells in resin. I'm not seeing a whole lot of cells. I'm seeing a whole lot of circles, but they're not. Well, that's all the resiBlast I'm going to use on this. It's different looking. That's all I can say about it. It's different looking. Well, I don't know what else to do with this thing, so I'm going to leave it like it is. We're going to call this done. We're going to say this is the finished product. But that's it. That's my board using resiBlast. I'll be back in an hour to pull that tape off. If you leave the tape on too long and it really starts to cure, again, I mean, you need the heat gun anyway, but you want to pull the tape off at about an hour, hour and a half, no longer than 2 hours. Okay, it has been close to 2 hours, so we're going to take this cover off of here and let's see if the tape, if this is soft enough to peel on its own. Yes, if you time it right. There we go, perfect. Then you don't need the heat gun. Look at that, look at that, look at that. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. So as it finishes curing, that edge should soften some because resin is self-leveling. Ooh, look at this. But that's great. We didn't have to use the heat gun. If you leave it more than 2 hours, generally, you're gonna have to use the heat gun to remove it, but that's cool. And so now it will be here to cure overnight. This is the next day, and so as opposed to uncovering and unmolding like we were doing coasters, we're just going to take the cover off of this and see what it looks like. And oh, that's very pretty. It doesn't look like any ooh, that's oily. Look at my fingers. That's oily. You know, I bet this is some kind of like a silicone blend. That's what I'm saying. If you put silicone in acrylic paint, it will create cells. It'll make everything move. Let me wipe this off. So let's take some alcohol and let's see how much of that we can wipe off. So I don't know that you really need to spend this kind of money on resiBlast. You can probably do the same thing by just going to Home Depot and buying some silicone. I think I might have to wash this board in Dawn dishwashing liquid. Okay, so what we want to do now is just take the tape off the back, clean up. See a little bit of resin leaked under the tape on this side, a little bit of resin leaked on that side. So we just need to get that cleaned up. And so what we want to do is get this tape off. Now here you do have to use the heat gun. Because this is cured. And again, when I have nice long strips of tape like this, I don't throw this in the trash. I use it on another project. So this little edge right here that has resin on it, we're going to heat that and just scrape that off. So I'm just going to take my Dremel because it's faster and just clean that real nice. Let's see. So again, nice clean line. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going into the kitchen and I'm just going to wipe this down with some Dawn dishwashing liquid. I really do not like this oily feel. Okay, so I washed that off. It feels really nice now. Yeah, that's nice and clean. So now I have a little bit of lip of resin on this corner, so we're going to heat that and take a new razor. We're just going to trim that off of there. Beautiful. That's the way you want it to come off. Nice and clean. It's not just doing the work, it's how you finish your work. And so you want these edges to be nice and smooth. Got a sand right there. I've got a little spot of resin. Finger along here. Clean finish. That looks good. Now, I don't know if you can see, this was primed in white, in the white gesso, and there are a couple of little spots where the gesso shows. So what I'm going to do is just take a permanent marker and just go over that spot. This line is a nice line, but you can see just a little, again, a little white. I don't know if that's close enough. You can see just a little bit of white showing where we prime the board. And so I am going to put a line of washi tape along there. Let me see what we want. We don't want these royal blues. That's a cute sparkly one. That is holographic. That's probably the right color, but that's holographic. I think I kind of like that. These are too big, too wide. Too blue. And so the glitter, the solid, the holographic, or the glitter, I think I'm going to go with the holographic. I think I like that. I have to turn this board around so it's closer to where I am so I can see what I'm doing. Yep, I think that gives that a, oh, that's pretty. Oh, I like that. Yep, that was a good choice. To make sure that this does not peel up, I'm going to just try and do things so you can see. I'm just going to put a dab of crazy glue, super glue. What do you call this stuff? super glue. Make sure it doesn't come up on that side, and I'm not even going to say 9 times out of 10, if you use it, you're going to want to wash it off. And so what I'm going to do, I use this DuraClear gloss varnish. We're going to run a bead of DuraClear over this washi tape just to seal it. Now, you might be wondering, why did we tape the bottom of the back? That's because a name is supposed to go on here, and I don't know the name yet. Well, yeah, a name is supposed to go on here. So I am going to actually put a strip of washi tape across the bottom here. Let's mark where we want our line. Okay, and now we'll do the bottom line. You know, I guess we will. The last thing that we need to do is to oil the board. And so I like this product, 13 Chefs. And I put my oil on by hand, just a drop here, a drop there. A lot of people use cloths, but I like to just really be able to rub this in with my fingers. I'm always thinking the cloth is absorbing more oil than is going on the board. So just rub that in. And I am not going to put oil here, because once the client gives me the name that they want to go on here, I will cut the lettering out on my Cricut Joy, put the lettering on, and then this bottom part of the board will have resin to seal the lettering. And when you are oiling your board, make sure you get the sides. Wooden boards should be oiled once a month to keep them in good condition. And the oil prevents the wood from drying out. I'll allow this to soak in for about 20 minutes and then come back and wipe off the excess. Okay, we are done. Our board is finished.